Dabo makes it official today, what we already knew, that Wes Goodwin is no longer with Clemson. After this, we're going to find out that an interesting fact about the Tooth Fairy. Okay, I'm having a little fun here. Who is our next quarterback? Better question. So people's ask me, who do you think our next DC should be? I mean, if you're going to get on here and say that we should move on or don't hire this guy or don't hire that guy, I'm going to talk about my pick or picks for defensive coordinator, and I'm going to dive into that in just a second. Welcome to the channel. It's Monday. That's right. Monday, January the 6th. Had to look down and make sure that was right. After 5 o'clock, hope you're doing well. We don't know if we're having snow come in this weekend. Hey, it's the upstate of South Carolina. We know what we're getting. It's freezing rain. That's what we're getting. Freezing rain. But anyway, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I mean, my statistics are still telling me that a good bit of you, I'm talking about half or more, hasn't subscribed, who consistently watches me, and this channel's been getting a lot of views. Hope you'll subscribe. If you like talking college football and you like supporting independent media, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. It is free. So Wes is out. We knew that was going to happen. Dabo made it official today, and everybody was sitting there like, yeah, that's good. So who's going to replace him? Who's going to replace him? So I'm still seeing Tim Banks' name come up. Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator out of Tennessee. Now, last week, if you didn't watch my video, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. I really wished you'd watch the video. I talked about a really good Tennessee friend of mine, an alum there. I said, look, if y'all took him, it wouldn't hurt our feelings at all. Basically, his approach is to pressure with the front four. You're not seeing a lot of aggressive blitzes. You're not seeing exotic packages. And, folks, I don't know about you. We just saw that this year. We saw that this year at Clemson. It didn't help. We allowed quarterbacks who were picking us apart to stand back in the pocket and further pick us apart. And then it got even worse once the running game got to going and we couldn't stop it. Citadel, Texas, South Carolina. I can keep going. So to turn around and watch that same Texas team the week prior, he ran all over us like we were a bunch of mannequins, only be held to what? 50 yards, 60 yards by Arizona State? It's laughable. So for me, while everybody's talking about Tim Banks, no offense to the man, I just don't think that's the right move for Clemson. I don't. I'm not the one who's making the decisions, but hey, this is sports talk, and we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk Clemson here. Tyler Santucci is a young coach at this point. This guy is the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, and right now he's been getting his name passed around the toilet bowl that is rumor mill in Clemson for the defensive coordinator position. So you're going to hear about Tim Banks from Tennessee, and then the next person you're going to hear about is Tyler Santucci. What can I tell you about this guy? This guy's 36 years old. He's already coaching in this landscape. Pause there. You're like, why do you name out his age? Does that mean if he was older, he would be worthless? No. But what I'm saying, he is a younger coach. He is a guy who is climbing the ranks in coaching. He's not someone who is so old that it's like, hey, man, I'm getting sick and tired of playing this NIL game. They've been around in the game so long that they're like, I don't want to even make this transition. So hopefully that explains why I'm bringing up his age. But he is currently coaching at Georgia Tech. And this guy is, a lot of people likes him. A lot of people likes him. He played at Stony Brook Small School. And then he was a GA at Wake Forest. He was a linebackers coach at Texas State. In 2017, he was a defensive analyst at Notre Dame. In 2018, he was a defensive analyst at Texas A&M. He went back to Notre Dame in 2019 as a linebackers coach. In 2020 to 2021, 2020 to 2022, he was at A&M in some capacity on the defense. He was a co-defensive coordinator there in his last year. He was the defensive coordinator and linebackers coach at Duke last year. And this year, he has been the defensive coordinator and linebackers coach for Georgia Tech. This guy is a rising star in coaching. That's one of the reasons that you're hearing his name a lot at Clemson. So let's pause there for a second. You could say, well, hold on, Brian. You just told me that this guy has went to so many different schools in a short amount of time. Does that make you hesitant to hire him? Yes and no. There's a part of me that steps back and asks the question, has he been in a nucleus, or maybe we won't say nucleus, but maybe we could. Has he been in the same environment for a long period of time? The answer is no. Where am I going with that? One of the biggest problems we've seen at Clemson, I'm not going to start a rant on this. I'm just going to remind you, if you don't know my opinion on this, or you're watching me for the first time, I'll spare my regular viewers having to hear it again, but folks, I've talked about this. Clemson got to the place to where almost every person on the sideline was a former player or someone who, drove through Clemson and ate at the Waffle House there on 123. And that's where we started to see Clemson go down. Clemson's not the elite team that they once were. You started to see now over the past few years, he went after Garrett Riley, who just won the Broyles Award. We all have our different feelings on Garrett. We're hoping that he finally got his offense fixed. We started seeing good things at the end of this season. So I'll pause there. He went and got Matt Luke, having to replace a guy that was a former Clemson player who only had, 2 years at Georgia State as a coach. Brought him in, had to fire him after 2 years. So we're seeing Dabo start to replace these guys who had been there that probably needed more time in the coaching oven, probably need to make other stops, other places. Wes Goodwin being one of them, all right? I'm not going to trash Wes. So here's another scenario where Sweeney's having to let go of someone that probably needed more experience, probably needed to be a defensive coordinator somewhere else before taking on a role at Clemson. Clemson is a major brand job, okay? Now, I treat it that way, and that's why I expect so much out of it. Just like I've given this example, just stick with me. I've given this example. If I go down here to Texas Roadhouse or Longhorn and I get a steak for $35, I expect a totally different experience at, say, Hall's Chop House, which is fine dining, and I'm paying, I don't know, for me and my wife to eat $400. I expect a $400 meal and experience at Hall's. Why? Because Hall's, I'm paying for the experience, I'm paying for the ambiance, and that's the thing at Clemson. Some of you start getting out of whack a little bit, and you get angry when I get critical about some of the coaching hires, and when I start going, I don't know if I do that. Well, why? Because I treat Clemson as Hall's. I don't treat it like some of you do, like it's McDonald's. I believe the best for Clemson. I believe Clemson can have the best coach at every position, and I know other universities out there wants to have the best coaches. The difference between them and Clemson is Clemson can actually get them. I just guess I believe in Clemson a little more than some of you do. Tyler Santucci has the experience. He's young, but he's been a lot of places. He's been around different sizes of programs. Wake Forest is not a very big school. You go to Texas A&M, that's a very big school. You go to Notre Dame, that's a historical school. You go to Duke, it's tougher to coach there because of the academic requirements. You go to Georgia Tech, it's tough to coach there because of the academic requirements. Come to Clemson. It's not a bad school, but it's not Duke, and that's not a slap at the university. It's not Georgia Tech. So he can actually recruit players into Clemson that he can't get at Georgia Tech, and especially not Duke. And he did very well there. It is tough to coach at those places. So Tyler Santucci is someone that right now I'm not saying I'm just gaga foaming at the mouth like someone slipped me some type of foam in the mouth pill. An Alka-Seltzer. That's it. I'm not losing my mind over it, but I'm just saying I don't have a problem with Santucci coming to Clemson. I don't have a problem with it. So that's the first person I would suggest. Now, this person that I'm about to name out has not been named on one list that I've seen up to this point. I've seen some lists by different media outlets, and all they're doing is they're either talking about rumors that they've heard, Tim Banks being the top person everyone's hearing about. Tyler Santucci is one of them. But I want to say that the guy up at Illinois, the defensive coordinator there, who clamped down on Lenore Sellers, his name has been brought into it. I want to say he's in his mid-30s. He's a young coach that's rising. I want to say that even someone brought up the defensive coordinator at Army. Now, he's in his early 60s. He's been in the game a long time. Think about trying to coach at Army and then come to Clemson, where you don't have as many restraints as you do at West Point. But this person that I'm about to name out, I think probably falls in those last, it kind of falls in the last two of the examples I gave you. Probably the guy from Army is not coming to Clemson. Probably the guy from Illinois, probably not coming to Clemson. But they're throwing those names out there. Maybe it's a rumor that they've heard. But this guy is someone that I am bringing up. And I wouldn't have a problem if Clemson went after him. As of today, Jerod Mayo, the head coach of the New England Patriots, my mind totally went blank there. New England Patriots, he was fired today after 1 year on the job. 1 year on the job. And a lot of people believe the reason he was fired is because he sent former Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton out there, and they won their game yesterday, and it cost them the first overall pick in the NFL draft, if my memory serves me correct. Now, Jerod Mayo is, to me, he's an interesting story. He's 38. He's played in the NFL for a long time. And he began to have a really good, get a really good reputation in coaching. And he's been with the Patriots this entire time. He took over for Bill Belichick. And folks, taking over for the man is tough. We know this. Taking over for the man. And I know you can make your comments about, well, when Bill left Tom, he wasn't such, he wasn't the man, I get that argument. I get it. But Jerod Mayo took over a tough job, and a lot of people has a lot of respect for this guy. I think the guy has significant upside. And your rebuttal to me could be, well, Brian, he hasn't had multiple stops, and he's never coached in the college game. And your rebuttal would be 100% right. But I feel better about bringing in Jerod Mayo at Clemson than I do bringing in Tim Banks or the guy from Army. I really do. I feel better about bringing him in. Now, is it going to happen? Most likely not. Most likely, Sweeney's not going to reach out to Jerod Mayo because the guy just he literally just lost. He was coaching yesterday for the New England Patriots. Another guy that I would have liked to seen them try to go after and bring in, some of you brought up his name, and I agree with you, Steve Wilks. But he just got fired from San Francisco, and if my memory serves me correct, he's already taken another job. Steve Wilks is not a bad coach. Steve Wilks can coach. Now, he's older. He hasn't been in the college game, if ever. I haven't looked at his background as far as his college experience, but he has great experience in the NFL. But from what I understand, he's already taken. They're not going to bring him in. And one of you, let me see, I'm going to get in the comment section real quick. Everybody hang with me for a moment. Big John, I hate speculation. If we chase Mayo, would be better off chasing Vrabel. Bobby Durkins is still available. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, my friend. Vrabel, that guy right there, they're probably going to try to lock him down in New England. I'd love to. Man, it's fantastic. I love it. Halo Master 96. It doesn't matter who is up next. ACC Clemson is an afterthought. Thank you, Halo Master, for coming in here talking trash. You always love to come in here Nice rage bit. They're having fun. I hope Dabo is waiting on Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard, golly, which guy's that? I know that name. Mr. Brand BB, please drop that name in there. Go Tigers. Good to see you, Justin. It's good to see you, my friend. Musty Martian, Jim Leonard. Everybody's talking about Jim Leonard in here. Truett Graves says Dabo would be dumb if he fired Goodwin and went after somebody just like him. Clemson Carson says, hey, I'm a Patriots fan. Please no on Mayo. What about Tim Banks? Tim Banks, I mean, I'm hearing bad things from good Clemson fans. And good Tennessee fans, excuse me. Sounds like some of you guys need to go buy some milk and bread. Jason Red, who would be my dream DC? Oh my God. Come on, Jason, don't put me on the spot like that. I'd have to think about that. My dream DC. Nick Saban. I know you're like, well, he's retired, but I'm like dream DC. That's a talk. Nick Saban, man, he's something. I would let him run things. Kirby Smart, as much as people may or may not like him, Kirby Smart's pretty dadgum good. DC wise, incredible. Definitely new blood in the system. How good of a season could we have next year? I did a video this week, everyone. If you haven't watched it, talking about can the 2025 Clemson team actually win a national or be a true contender for the national championship next year? You should go check out the video. I posted it yesterday. Even if hey, listen, for some of you who are like, man, some of your videos are a little long, go down there, adjust the speed on the video. It speeds it up. You'll get it over quicker. But I'm telling you right now, I think I think that there's a lot of good things, but this DC hire is going to be massive. It's going to be massive, y'all. Tony Knight says, hey, I agree with Merck City. I think reading between the lines, Dabo hinted he's going to hire Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard. Everybody's saying Jim Leonard in here. Brian, I'll be honest, that's a psycho take. Thank you, Tiger Fan 24. Tim Banks is mid-tier. Jay said Banks isn't coming, just posturing for a raise. Hey, that could work. Matt Brewer says DB for the Broncos. Koozie, dropping the money in here. Tim Banks is a lateral move, anyone but him. Koozie, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. That's very, very nice. That's very nice of you. Appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. That's a big deal. Always appreciate the support. You've been good to support the channel. Everybody's saying Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard would be the best hire. I'm saying Bobby Durkins for DC. You can see it. Marion Hobby just got fired by Cincy. Maybe a return to Clemson. That'd be interesting. Everybody's talking about Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard coming on and coaching for Clemson. What do we know about Jim Leonard? I just looked up his Wikipedia, so y'all forgive me. Played at Wisconsin. As a player, he played for the Bills, Ravens, Jets, Broncos, Saints, Bills, Browns. He played for everybody. As a coach, defensive backs coach with Wisconsin. Wisconsin's defensive coordinator from 17 to 22. He was an interim coach at 22. He was senior football analyst for Illinois. This year was his first year with the Broncos. That's interesting. That's interesting to see that name. Folks, here's what I'm going to tell you. And I mean this wholeheartedly. We need... I don't care who they hire. This next hire needs to be a Matt Luke-like hire. That's really hard to say. Matt Luke-like hire. I did it. It's weird, but I did it. Why? We see what Matt Luke did immediately. immediately. That guy came in, and you realize, like, boom, best offensive line coach in the country. Without a shadow of a doubt, best offensive line coach in the country. And he showed it. And when injuries started to happen, what did he tell Dabo? Well, that's the reason you have me here. Folks, that is a man answer. That's a championship answer. That's a great leader answer. That is a brilliant expert answer. That's it. Well, everybody else is going, we had injuries. Good Lord, as you get to the midpoint of the season, everyone has injuries. You get to the end of the season, if you don't have the ambulance filled up and you don't have Oconee Memorial filled up for Clemson, good job. It's not time for excuses. And Matt Luke wasn't going to have any of it. That's the type of defensive coordinator we need. By the way, Clemson can get that guy while other schools can't. They won't. They won't away. They wish. When they wish upon a star, they still get nothing. But Clemson can get them. And that's why I am pushing for the very best hire. And for some of you, you're going to come back on here and go, hey, look, Dabo's got this thing. All right? Folks, I love Coach Swinney. I appreciate Coach Swinney. I just hope he continues to follow through and hire guys like Matt Luke. Matt Luke has not disappointed for one moment. He hasn't. Garrett, I'm going to be careful what I say about Garrett. Garrett Riley started to pull some things together towards the end of the season. You know, it's not hard to run up a score on bad football teams. Virginia, we haven't had a problem beating Virginia. We've had our problems beating Georgia and beating good football teams. And so Garrett seems to be getting things going, and that's good. He's going into year 3. He's going to have a year 3 with Cade Klubnik. Well, yes, year 3 with Cade Klubnik. Had to think about that for a second. He has all those wide receivers. He's going to have Matt Luke and 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back. It's incredible. This is going to be wonderful. So, we're still, jury's kind of out still with Garrett. We can't be going back into our shell and calling, scared football or whatever's going on there. But this hire right here at defensive coordinator, folks, you mark my word. If we hire someone who's basically just a little better than Wes, we are going to waste the eligibility of so many people. It's going to be terrible. And you're going to have to think about the very next season, 2026. Who are we going to replace at quarterback? Who will be our replacement at quarterback? We're going to be losing a bunch of offensive linemen. We're going to be losing a lot of people to the draft on the offensive side of the football. Or the defensive side of the football, that is. Sorry, misspoke there. This is our chance. 2025 is our chance. And this hire right here, it will either make or break 2025 moving forward. So I don't know who he's going to go after. I have no clue who he's going after. But I will tell you this. I hope that whoever it is a top-tier hire because Clemson can not only wish for it, but they can get it. RFD Mayberry, thanks for being in here, my friend. Yeah, Bill Coward. Love that. Him and his jaw. I love the jaw and the mustache. RFD, thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Same to Big John Setting in here. Thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. I see the symbol beside your name. And, of course, Koozie for supporting the channel. Y'all take care of yourself. We'll see who ends up becoming the DC at Clemson. Fingers crossed it's great and not just a bunch of hype. Because if we fix our defense, folks, and you go look at our schedule right now, go to fbsschedules.com, you look at our schedule as it is right now, it's quite favorable. So between the favorable schedule, a lot of the big games, almost all of them are at Death Valley, and then all of the majority of the players returning on both sides of the football, if we can get a really good defensive coordinator and we can start blocking for field goals, we will make an actual legitimate run to the college football playoff and actually do some damage there. And instead of stumbling in because someone couldn't hold a 21-point lead against Syracuse, we'll actually show up because we earned our way in. and we'll make some noise versus tucking our tails and losing by 14 points in the first round and acting like we did something. It'll be a different story. It'll be the Clemson of old. It will be elite Clemson football. Y'all take care of yourself. Hope you'll subscribe. It's free. As always, go Tigers.